Miss Transporters 96 here with another Hot Toys review. This time we have the Guardians of the Galaxy Sideshow exclusive Star-Lord. So yeah, overall very excited to get this one. As you can see from the sticker there, I did get the exclusive version from Sideshow. This went on pre-order right after Comic-Con, and it was with the other like 4 figures that they showed at Comic-Con, which was the Mark III, Marty McFly, the G1 Prime, and Star-Lord, and each of them had some exclusive item to them, and I don't know if they just had a limited supply of the exclusives or if just those characters were all just extremely popular, but with just about every one of those, the exclusive sold out within a day, so I was very happy to be able to get this guy in time, because typically that doesn't happen, so I'm really glad I didn't wait and miss out on the exclusive item, so I'm very happy that I did get that. Overall, packaging is alright. I mean, I like the design. I think that the design is neat. I just don't think it's like Hot Toys, really nice quality type of feel. It's rather, you know, it's got somewhat of a toyish or just kind of Japanese company type of design to it. I would have liked something a little bit more elegant and very much like a very high quality item inside basically. So it gives it a little bit of a cartoonish look with the, you know, bright purple stars with the G that's kind of, you know, indented, almost a picture of Star-Lord, and then the bottom has this weird like Tron type of design there, and then Star-Lord, and it has like a 80s you know, video game type of style to it, which maybe they're going for because he's obviously kind of old school, but I don't know, it kind of looks strange to me. It doesn't look like a very nice, you know, multi-$100 figure, so I would have liked them to make the box a little more classy. But that being said, the box isn't a very high concern to me, of course. It's the figure that's inside that really should be judged, so I'm not too disappointed in the box, but they definitely should have changed it up. It's just the box isn't a big deal. So yeah, there you go. Let's get him out of package and see how cool he is. Alright, so here's Star-Lord out of package, but before we go into the actual figure, let's go over his accessories. Alright, so he comes with a total of 5 hands, 3 for the right, 2 for the left. As you can see, he comes with a pair of fists, a pair of hands that have trigger fingers meant to hold his weapons, and then one right hand for holding the orb or the light up kind of ball. And you can also put his cassette player in that hand as well. Overall, hands, they're sculpted quite nicely. They're gloved. They've got nice little stitching details in them, and they look quite good. The amount of hands you get is pretty bad on this guy. You know, sometimes they come out with, you know, a really nice array of hands and you're very pleased. Sometimes they miss the mark a bit. Sometimes he comes with few hands, but you really don't know, you know, what other hands he could come with. And then sometimes you get a figure like this where he comes with very few hands and there's a ton of other hands that you would have wanted him to come with, and you could have seriously actually displayed him with, not just hands that he should have come with just to get them, but hands that are actually useful that he doesn't have. First of all, he doesn't have any hand for holding the cassette player, you know, that's like meant for that. I mean, when you know, the cassette player, he should come with a hand that's like this, where, you know, the thumb's there up at the button and he's, you know, kind of like this, so he's, you know, like legitimately holding the cassette player. That would have been really nice. Just a hand to, and so a hand to hold the cassette player, and then like maybe a pointing hand, or just hands that have some expression to them, especially since he does a lot of dances. And I know, well, you know, that's just something he does in the movie, but I would personally be very happy with, you know, posing him in a dance, you know, with the cassette player on, because that would kind of embody the movie itself into a toy, in my opinion. Having a very, what at first glance looks like a very serious, you know, superhero character, all of a sudden in a dance pose with a cassette player, you know, that is Guardians of the Galaxy to me. So to have him displayed like that, I would love that. So the fact that he doesn't come with any hands that are meant for that is incredibly disappointing, and he doesn't even come with like relaxed palms or open, like, you know, attacking hands that you could even display or, you know, pose like they're dancing hands. He comes with absolutely no hands that would look decent in a a dancing pose. So really disappointing. There's just a ton of hands that he could have come with that he doesn't, and it's just, I don't know why. As well as maybe a hand where like two of the fingers are kind of out and a little curved, so that you can put it like behind his ear, like he's pressing the button to have the mask come up. That would, just, there's a ton of hands that he could have come with that would have been really necessary and really would have completely been hands that were used to display him by most people, yet he doesn't have. So one of my biggest disappointments with this figure is his array of hands. He is definitely lacking. Of course, he comes with an extra spare of wrist pegs, if you were wondering. You, of course, get Star-Lord's signature weapons. Obviously, they shoot kind of an electric blast. They're very futuristic, spacey type of weapons there. As you can see, they look really cool. This design in the handle is really nice and something that we don't see in the movie. I mean, it's very hard to tell that it's got this type of design in it, which is pretty neat, though. I like the little kind of purple edges and kind of the burnt purple. Instead of black, where there would be gunpowder, they're, burnt kind of in that electric type of feel, which is neat. On this side, of course, you do have a little area that sticks out, and that's just to kind of how he holds it, where that it just, I guess it's to help him hold it better. It's got a better fit or whatnot to it. Really nice looking weapons, though, I must say. The only thing I don't like about them is that they just feel like they don't fit into the hand, and the reason that I have one here with it in his hand is because it just doesn't feel right. And I don't know why. I feel like I had to bend the finger into the hole, the trigger finger hole, more than I should have, first of all. And second of all, it just doesn't feel like he's holding it naturally. And maybe it's just because the handle part is more pushed up to his fingers over here, so there's a little gap there, which is why his thumb isn't completely holding it. There's just something wrong, in my opinion. Now, when he's holding it, it doesn't look like that, which I'll show in a second there. So it's not like he looks weird holding it. It's just, they just don't fit in properly, in my opinion there. But that just might be something that's just bothers me, that's really not a problem for anybody else, but I'm not sure. It has a weird feel to me. Alright, so here are the guns in Star-Lord's hands. As you can see, they look really good. Like I said, although they don't fit in perfectly, in my opinion, they don't look like they don't fit in, at least. So it looks like he's holding them very naturally and with a firm grasp. So they do look quite nice there. I like it a lot. And of course, obviously, you can pose him shooting or whatnot, but I like him just kind of holding them. I think he looks cooler there. And I think that he looks cooler holding them with the helmet on. I think when you have the Peter Quill head sculpt on, a more holding the orb or playing the cassette player is more of more accessories that are suited to a Peter Quill head sculpt. But when you got the Star-Lord helmet on, he only has that helmet on when he means business. So I like the guns in his hands with this one. So I definitely like that a lot. Looking very cool with those guns. And at the moment, this is how I display him. I could very well in the future change him up, though, because I haven't decided if I like him displayed more with the helmet or Peter Quill head. But only time will tell, and I'll make my decision soon, I'm sure. One accessory that I'm very glad that he does come with is the cassette player along with the headphones. This is of course something that I would, there's a good chance I'll display him with this, with these accessories, because I think that they're quite cool. I will give you a glimpse of him actually using them so that you can see how they fit onto him and everything. As you can see, the cassette player right here looking quite nice. Get to focus, and you'll see that there's actually some good detailing in there. For some reason, I can't get it to focus though. There we go. Starting to focus. There we go. Awesome mixtape. As you can see, it does say that. Super cool. Volume 1. Very nice. I like this a lot. Got some good detail in it, and looks very cool. The only problem with it, of course, is that it is a light purple when it should be a light blue. And that is just because it is a Sony product, and therefore they could not use the license for that. Would have wished that they would, I don't know. Obviously, it's not my area of expertise, so I have no idea how they could have gotten the license to do that. But if they could have found a way, that would have been really awesome. But I certainly don't blame them for not doing that. Then he comes with some pretty standard headphones, but they do look really nice. And of course, they do not have the orange at the ends there, which is how he is in the movie. I'm surprised that you can copyright some orange pads on earphones. That would have been really nice to have, and unfortunately, he doesn't have that. So those are issues that are not Hot Toys' fault, but are something that's quite disappointing, even though it's not Hot Toys' fault. My only problem is that the clip is very nice. You can clip it into his belt. It's very cool. I would have liked them to come with a another cassette player that didn't have the clip, because with the clip it makes it hard for him to hold it in his hand sometimes, just because the clip gets in the way. It's very bulky. So it would have been nice if they could have given us a cassette player without the clip, but that's a very minor complaint. Very happy that we did get this headphones and cassette player. Alright, so here he is with the cassette player and headphones. As you can see, looking really cool. Now, you know, this was something, I heard a lot of people complaining that the headphones didn't fit on his head well, and, you know, that he just didn't look good with it on because of that. And in person, it's not a problem. I mean, the problem is reviewers are showing this and, you know, they're turning it around so you can see that the headphone isn't perfectly on his ears. Or I see a lot of them doing this, where they, like, put it up like it's, like, straight over his head. I don't think that that's natural or realistic, because most of the time the headphones are going to be quite sideways, and I think that's a more realistic look. Plus, from the toy standpoint, you're going to be looking at this guy like this, either head on or from a slight angle, and it doesn't look bad that way. It's only when you really look at it from a strong angle, or certainly from the back or something, that you can notice that it's not clearly on his ears. So, you know, I don't like when I hear a lot of complaints about this, because in my opinion it is not a problem at all. You know, this is a figure meant for display. It's not for playing around, so, you know, you're going to see it from certain angles, and from the angles that you're going to see it at, having it not completely go over his ears isn't a problem. You know, it would have been nice if they found some way that you could get it so that it stays, like, completely on his ears, but like I said, it's really not a problem, and it's only slightly off of his ears anyway, so it doesn't matter at all in the slightest to me, in my opinion. The cassette player, as you can see, he does holds it quite well. You're going to have to hold it where the plug is coming out from the bottom, because his clip is more on this side, and his thumb would hit it if you had it switched so that the cord was coming over here. It would kind of get in the way. So like I said, I wish the clip wasn't there, but it still looks fine, and he holds it fine. I mean, he looks like he's holding it fine with his hand that's meant for holding the orb. Like I said, though, having a hand that's specifically meant for holding the cassette player would have been absolutely necessary, and very disappointed we don't have it. As well as, if you have him displayed like this is kind of how you have to have him stand, because you're gonna of course have him holding the cassette player, so this hand is gonna have to be like that, and then this hand, you've got two options: a fist or a trigger gun, a gun holding hand. So if you put the gun holding hand in and make it look like he's using it to dance or something, I don't know, but there's just not a good way to pose this guy dancing, because he comes with such a lack of hands, and that is disappointing. As well as I, you know, of course, would have liked the bigger smirk. I think that a larger smirk would have worked a lot better with this headset and cassette player. Overall, very fun accessories though, and I could see myself posing them like this, or in some fashion like this, because it's just a really neat and unique thing, you know. You don't see a tough superhero, you know, listening to some tunes very often on your shelf, so it's very cool to get this. Very unique, and unique is always good when it comes to Hot Toys. So yeah. Here's some more accessories that he comes with. The handcuffs and the orb are going to be exclusives. You're only going to be able to get those through Sideshow.com. Like I said in the beginning of this review, they sold out a long time ago though, so you're going to have to buy them through eBay or just somebody who has the exclusive set. The light up orb type of circle thingy there, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of like a grenade too, I guess. That's a regular release, so you're going to get that with this figure no matter how you buy it. Overall, it's very cool. You can, it's not just translucent, it's like kind of almost like a glass, because you can like really see it, although it is plastic, so it's not actual glass, but it's really definitely well done. It looks really realistic, and it can spin. Yeah, the little part here is actually spinning, which I don't know why that's the case, because it's unnecessary, first of all, and second of all, you know, it wasn't like that in the movie either, so I just really don't know why it spins, but that is, you know, quite a nice accessory. Nothing too special, considering he uses it for a very short time. It's not for anything too special, so that's an accessory that I could live without. The orb, however, I feel is completely necessary. The orb is a bit bigger than that other one as well. As you can see, looking quite nice there. It's got a lot of nice little detail and looks good. And then the handcuffs. The handcuffs are a little plain to me. Would have liked to see them with some more detail there. You got the blue in the wrist cuffs there, which is kind of nice. But other than that, they're pretty a plain gray. I would have liked to see some more detail to make them look a little bit more Hot Toys quality. These could pass as like Hasbro items. This could pass as a Hasbro item. I really don't see anything special with this. And you know, I think that it would kind of be hard to put it on his wrist. Now, I might be wrong with that, but I have a feeling that they're going to be a little bit of a pain to put on, first of all. And second of all, he doesn't have the handcuffs on when he's wearing the costume that the Hot Toys one comes with. So I find it very unnecessary. I think that with Groot, he'll probably be able to fit them on. It'll probably be relatively easy to put him on because Groot doesn't have any clothing, as well as Groot didn't wear the prison guard or prisoner outfit during that scene anyway. So he looked really good in those cuffs. Or like if General Zod might look cool in them. If they made a General Zod without the armor, I think those would be awesome cuffs to give him. But other than that, I thought that maybe I could use them with some other figure or something. But without General Zod, with his armor, I'm not going to use it for that. So I mean, they're obviously not going to make another Zod. So I really just find those a little pointless, I must say. I find the orb is an absolute necessity. I do not know why it is an exclusive, and I think that's a little unfair. Exclusive should enhance the figure. It shouldn't be something that the figure needs. And the orb is something that Star-Lord needs, which they didn't give to him. I find that just an absolute atrocity. It's just not fair, because the orb is something that, the collector's going to want with the figure, and the collector's going to deserve with the figure, and to make it something that not everybody is going to get is just an absolute pity. I find that there is no reason that the orb should be exclusive. What they should have done, because this is an unnecessary accessory, this is just something that would just kind of, enhance them a bit. I think the orb should be with the regular release, and the exclusive should be the handcuffs and the light up ball thing there. So that's just my opinion. I find, and I've been waiting to say this for a long time, ever since this went on pre-order. It has just absolutely disgusted me that the orb is not a regular release. So I just wanted to get that out there. I've been waiting since this guy went on pre-order to say this, though, so that's why I'm so kind of passionate about it. I don't think it's fair for them to do that. Exclusive should be something that's not necessary. Overall, those are some extra accessories. Quite nice. Alright, so he does come with this base. Now typically when I would talk about a regular base like this, it wouldn't be too special, but this is quite special because this is the official mark that the base that we all know and love for years is dead. This is basically the replacement to the standard base. And I have to say, getting it in person, I was already feeling this way, but getting it in person just reassures me that I'm very happy about the decision. I have no problem with the basic bases that we have right now, but I think that these are better. They're more customizable. The nameplates are a little larger. The font is a little larger, so it's more prominently seen. The cradle itself is no different at all. It's the same cradle. It's just the base. Now it's in more of a almost like a diamond type of shape there, and then you get some nice texturing that has to do with the movie. They're doing these bases for Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Wars, and Avengers Age of Ultron so far. Of course, they will be doing them for just about every license, but for now, those are the main ones that are going to start using this new bases, or they're the first ones that are going to use them. And I like it a lot. It kind of has the floor of the Milano in there, so it gives it a nice look, but it's not like super bright or anything. It's a very toned down color, so it's not in your face. It's not like, hey, this is a cheap element base or anything. This is a nice base that has a little bit of detail to it, just to give it something a little more interesting. Now, one thing that I was wondering was the size, because obviously, in a display where you're somewhat limited on space, how do they compare? Is this going to start taking up all your space, or will you be pretty much fine? In my opinion, you'll be pretty much fine. These bases are, of course, larger than your average base, but the thing is, they're not larger by that much, and the majority of your figures that you put on this base are going to be bigger up top, so you can't really have too many figures that actually have the bases touching. So I really have no problem with them using these new bases. I think that they are an improvement, and just they're a little bit more interesting, and they're just nicer in general, as well as they really don't take up too much more space. And I think that with the round ones, it's very hard to put them in a position where they look good, because some of them are tilted or whatnot, and they just don't look nice together. But with this, obviously, you can actually have them just stacked up against each other, and they'll look fine because they're in that very straight line shape, and you'll be able to have them in a kind of build like maybe a larger base between them, have them in a circle or whatnot. There's a bunch of cool stuff that you can do with these bases. So I do like these new bases a lot. Very happy that they're using them, and definitely thought it was worth noting that Star-Lord is basically the usher in this new era of bases. So yeah, very neat. Alright, so now to go over the actual figure, starting off with the Chris Pratt face sculpt here of him as his portrayal of Peter Quill. As you can see, looking decent. Now, when this guy first went on pre-order and when he was first shown at Comic-Con without the helmet on, with the actual Peter Quill face sculpt, and when he was shown later on and stuff, I was overall very disappointed, because when he originally, when the original pictures came out with him, the face sculpt that was his actual face sculpt was completely blurred out, so you really couldn't tell for a while. So most of the time we really just got the shots of him at events where he actually had the Peter Quill face sculpt. I think that this is a relatively bad head sculpt, and it's definitely a shame. And I have mentioned this in videos before whenever I talked about a new figure that was shown, a new picture that was shown of Star-Lord. As you can see, though, there is certainly a resemblance. I mean, it's definitely, you can definitely see effort there. Behind the ear is his little control thing that does pull up his helmet, which I think is cool. The hair is sculpted very nice, and the actual, face is sculpted very well. It looks like a real person, certainly does. Just doesn't look like it has a great likeness to the actor. I think that the expression is decent. I would have preferred something a little bit more intense than what they chose. They've got a very much mellow kind of face sculpt, but with a little smirk. I would have liked more of a smirk, just to make him, a little bit more of the Peter Quill that we know. So that would have been kind of nice. But just taking the expression off the table here, just looking at the face sculpt, I don't know, it doesn't look like Chris Pratt to me very much. In person, it looks better. I have to say, from the pictures and from the videos, he looked worse than he actually does in person. But I have to say, in person isn't that much better. He still doesn't look great, and that is very disappointing to me, I must say. And I've seen reviews where they say, very nice head sculpt and the whole bit, but when you really look at it, I just don't see the resemblance. But that just might be my personal feelings, and I might be kind of wrong, but overall I just do not see it too much as Chris Pratt. You can definitely tell, you definitely see the effort, you definitely see that it's very realistic. It doesn't look great, which leads me to believe that I might display him with the helmet on and wait until Guardians of the Galaxy 2 comes out to get another Peter Quill where I can actually display him with the face sculpt, because I'm sure that with the second attempt is probably going to be great, I have to say. So I'm crossing my fingers for that, but I feel like they missed the mark on this first attempt. It's not terrible, it's not something that you're just going to hate, but it's something that's noticeably not perfect, in my opinion. So of course he does come with a secondary head sculpt, which is the helmet face sculpt. Really neat. Of course in the movie, he pressed a little button behind his ear and the entire face sculpt, this entire helmet kind of molded around his face. I think that in the movie it looks really cool because it's very much like his comic appearance, but a little more modern. And I think that the Hot Toys one captures that essence pretty perfectly. Of course, as you can see, looking quite nice. I do like the way that they, did the paint on it, where it's got some scratches and dings around there. I think it's pretty neat. Looking very cool. The break where where it splits and the batteries are and everything like that, it's somewhat noticeable, but not too bad. Overall looking cool. I like the breathing tubes that come down, and the little tubes, they're not actually connected to his face. As you can see there's a gap. So, they're not just molded onto his face like a cheap toy. They're actually sculpted the way they are in the movie, which is slightly off of the face, which I do like a lot. The hair is non-removable. This isn't a helmet that goes over his face. This is a completely different head sculpt, which I'm very happy about again, just so that you don't have to worry about scratching the paint on his face or that it doesn't fit super well or something. I'm, just very glad that they did just go for a completely new head sculpt instead of just reusing a portion, instead of just molding the actual helmet face. Alright, you can just remove this back panel. There we go. Relatively easy. It's on, fairly tight so that it won't fall or anything, but relatively easy to take out. As you can see, there's the batteries as well as the switch. The batteries are in the figure already when you first get them out of the package. Here he is with the lights on. Not very noticeable with my lights. So taking them off, they're very cool. They're very intimidating. I love taking pictures of this guy in the dark like this because he just looks sick. You know, this is not somebody that you want to see at the end of a long alleyway. Very neat. I love the way the eyes glow. I think that they look really cool and I'm very happy with it. Now I have heard just about everybody who reviews this guy says that the lights go dim after a while or pretty quickly. Personally, I haven't experienced that yet. I haven't messed with him with his lights on too much. When I turn his lights on, it's just so I can snap a quick picture and then turn them back off. So maybe while I'm talking here, they start to dim or something. But from my view, they look to be just as bright as they were when I first turned them on. And apparently they're saying that they dim like super fast. So I don't know. I don't really have that problem. Maybe the more I use them, the more it'll happen or something. But overall, love the lights. Really think that they just look awesome and add that extra level to the figure. You know, like some lights are unnecessary. These kind of lights, very cool, very necessary, and just plain old awesome, you know. And I think that I'll probably leave the batteries in this guy forever. Maybe just, you know, every 6 months or so replace them or something just so they don't corrode. But just because every now and then I can see myself just switching on these lights, especially since the switch is pretty easy to get to. You don't have to futz around too much to get to the actual switch, which is quite nice. You know, it's in a rather convenient place. And if you want, you could just leave the back part off. And, you know, from the front view, it looks fine. It's only from the side that he looks strange. So even if you just wanted to leave this off so you never had to worry about taking it off or not, or back on, you know, you could do that, assuming that you'll have him at an angle where you're looking at him head on. So overall, really do like the lights, and the helmet head sculpt in general is just great. Alright, so really quickly, I just wanted to show you, here's the Star-Lord helmet as well as the Peter Quill face sculpt. As you can see, they both had their own ball joint, which is really nice. I've had some figures that came with two head sculpts that share one ball joint or one neck peg, that when you pull off the head, that neck peg stays on the head sculpt and doesn't stay with the body. So then it is just a struggle to get that thing out so that you can put it into the next head sculpt and put it back on. And I've spent, you know, plenty of time struggling with that, especially with like Red Skull. That was just such a big pain. So to get, you know, head sculpts that have the ball joint in them already is very nice. I'm very happy about that. When it comes to the helmet, the ball joint is actually just kind of in there completely. You cannot pull it out at all or anything like that. So you're just going to get the range of movement from the ball joint that goes into his neck. So you'll get one ball joint range of movement there. With this one, however, you do get that same ball joint, but what's nice is it's got a peg going into his head, which has another ball joint. So as you can see, the peg can move around, which is why the level of articulation is slightly better with the Peter Quill head sculpt rather than the helmeted head sculpt. Just wanted to share that with you quick while I had the heads off though. Alright, so now going over the actual outfit, as you can see, looking very nice. It's a very kind of dark red burgundy type of color. Sculpting is really well done. It looks very realistic, and you know, just really, it looks like the one from the movie. You've got those designs on his chest area, which look cool. He's got a bunch of gold buttons. They're not shiny gold, though. They're very darkened to make it look realistic and not toyish or anything, which is very nice. And overall looking cool. He does have his knapsack, of course. Something that I didn't notice, well, first of all, I do like the way that it's actually designed. I think it looks very cool, very intricate. I believe that is a working zipper, so yeah, it is a working zipper, so you can store stuff in it if you want. You can put the orb in it or whatnot. I don't really know why you'd want to, but you can if you did want to. One thing that I didn't notice as a problem, but that was pointed out to me, is that he has this third strap here that shouldn't be there. And, you know, I was surprised by that, because obviously I knew that, you know, they mainly are just the one strap that goes around, but I thought that there were probably bags like that, you know, had the third strap, and that's how he looked in the movie. But not only is that not very common, but it actually isn't in the movie like that. So this third strap is a completely not in the movie thing, and I'm not quite sure why they did it, because it's not like this third strap helps him stabilize the backpack in any way, shape, or form. He could totally just wear it like this. It would be easy to put on, and it wouldn't, you know, it would stay on. It wouldn't be like falling off or anything. So I'm not sure why they have the third strap there. The only thing that I can think of is possibly they feel like without the third strap, the backpack would like just be kind of leaned over more like this, and this helps it stay more in place like that. I'm not sure, but it is something that's not accurate, and I personally really do not like things that aren't accurate to the movie when it comes to Hot Toys. When I buy a Hot Toys, I know that I'm going to get as close to accuracy as possible. So things like that kind of annoy me. So very disappointed in that. But I mean, originally I didn't even notice it. So it's only when you notice it that it becomes an annoyance. The gray shirt underneath is done quite nicely. You can zip this jacket up if you want to. There is a zipper, and there are magnets on this side so that when you zip it, you can have it. I have this side folded over on this side to make it look like it did in the movie. In the movie, I don't think he has it zipped very much, and I just I don't really have any much of a need to do that, and I've heard that it's quite hard to do actually. So just I do not plan to do that at all, but you can if you did want to. He does have the armor bits on his shoulder and on his left arm there that they do look very nice. Going down, as you can see, the pants area, very nicely done. You know, it's you've got a lot of detail in there that's of course just hidden by this very eye-catching trench coat type of thing there. The boots look good with the little rocket boosters on the boots. I think that those are nice. From the back, you can really see the detail on this. I really like this a lot. The very worn effect that it has, I think, is just very cool. As you can see, I like the fact that it's stitched up right here and that there's holes in it right here. And then the paintwork itself is very nice. They did brush a lot of tan and gray and black into it to give it a really worn look, and it's not cheesy worn. It really legitimately looks like it's worn, you know? It looks like this figure was found in a basement, you know, and it was made, you know, 100 years ago, and this is how it looks type of thing. It doesn't look like it was made to look worn, which is cool. I definitely think that it looks really natural and really good. So costume design is overall very great, and I would say that it's definitely one of the highlights of the figure. He's definitely got a very interesting costume. Now, people, you know, some people don't love their choice of costume to use. Personally, I think it looks great, and you know, he doesn't wear this like this very much in the movie. It's really just the opening scene where he goes and gets the orb that he's actually wearing this. For the rest of the movie, he most of the time just wears like a half version of this that doesn't, you know, come down further than like right here, and I don't think it has the armor bits on it either. So overall, I find this to be something that looks great. It certainly is something that I would consider a representation of Star-Lord at looking at his most Star-Lord-y, if you will. I think that it definitely looks like that. But if you're into doing poses where you can really where you can really pose him like he is in certain scenes in the movie, then this of course isn't accurate, and therefore you wouldn't like it. I'm very happy that they did choose to use this outfit though. I would have wished that they would have given us a secondary coat to give him, so that's the short one. I think that would have been great, and of course, because it's such a small coat, you know, it's not like they'd have to sculpt a ton into it, you know, so I wouldn't mind that as a secondary feature. But that being said, I'd probably display him with this coat on anyway, so it's more of just a general public would like to have the shorter coat. Me personally though, I don't mind it too much. I'm very happy with him in the long trench coat type of look. Alright, to go over articulation. Head sculpt, like I said when I went over the actual, the ball joints of the necks, you're going to get more movement out of the Peter Quill head sculpt. So you're still going to be able to look up and down and side to side, of course, with the helmeted one. You will get a larger movement, though, of up and down and side to side with the Peter Quill one, though. Actually, just up and down, actually, you'll get more movement on. First of all, looking down, he looks down quite far. You know, he can almost be looking down at Ant-Man like that. So very nice. I definitely like that a lot. He looks up quite far again. He could be flying like Iron Man. So the range of head movement is wonderful, and of course side to side, tilted head, the whole bit. So I would consider the head sculpt to be perfect. As far as articulation goes, I see no hindrance, or even he can do whatever you want with the head, so it's perfect. He's got ball hinged shoulders. I would say that you get slightly more movement on this side, just because this side has the armor there. It slightly hinders it. Doesn't hinder it a ton, but it does hinder it. And just because of the largeness of the outfit, you're obviously going to be hindered with the arms a bit when it comes to the shoulders, which is disappointing but expected. Elbow wise, pretty decent. He's got double hinge, and you know, even with the helmet, you can hinge it up like that, which is quite nice. nice. The hands, as you can see, he has gloves hands on, but he has the glove hands on, but you can still get some movement in there, which is quite nice. You know, sometimes with the glove hands, it severely hinders the ankle hinge, but in this case it doesn't, so that's good. He's got a ball jointed upper torso, which works quite well and isn't hindered by his undershirt or the coat in general. The thigh movement is decent. I would consider it slightly better than the Winter Soldier. Certainly not as good as like the Falcon. You know, you can kind of move it up this much with leaving the one leg on the ground, and then you can kind of move the one leg back. You know, he can kind of get into somewhat of a sitting position. So, you know, the thigh joints are hindered just based on the clothing, of course. That's the only thing that's hindering it, but it does hinder it slightly. Bicep swivel, of course. Double hinge knees, which aren't really hindered. So, very nice. And then his ankles are severely hindered by the boot. Would have liked this to be a separate piece. They could have easily sculpted the brown part to be going over his actual shoe, which was in a ball joint there, so he can get some pivot in and really do a lot with the ball joints on the ankles. So that is hindered. He does have a wire in his cape. He's got one over here, but because this is a hard plastic, it really doesn't work. And I'm trying to see. Yeah, and then he does have a wire in the back one over here, so that one does work. The wire in the front one does work really well too, so that looks really cool. And then it does have a wire in the back here too, so you can slightly pose his outfit, which I really do love. Although you can't pose it too much because it is a slightly heavy material, so there's a lot of resistance to it. And of course with this one you can't really pose at all because it is that soft plastic there. Overall articulation is pretty decent. He's got all the right joints, and in some places they're really able to shine and they can move freely without any hindrance. And then he's got some where in some areas they're completely hindered, or at least hindered severely. So overall, it's a pretty decent when it comes to articulation. I'm not going to say that it's you know, below the average of articulation, but I'm also not going to say it's above the average articulation. You got basically the average articulation there. Shoulders, thighs, ankles somewhat hindered. Head, wrists, torso very much unhindered. So it's just whichever joints you value most, you know, you'll be able to determine whether you find this articulation you know, fit or not. So yeah, overall articulation's decent, not the best though. Alright, so overall this Star-Lord figure is quite good in my opinion. He comes with plenty of really nice accessories, which is just wonderful and keeps the figure fresh. He's in desperate need of more hands though, and then my other large complaint about him is the fact that the Chris Pratt face sculpt is not up to my standard of Hot Toys. I think that it is, that it can be definitely improved and improved upon greatly. So hopefully with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 we'll get a really accurate Chris Pratt face sculpt, so I'll be able to display my first Star-Lord with his helmet on, and my second Star-Lord with the Peter Quill face sculpt, so that'll be quite nice. But until then, I am kind of stuck, almost being forced to leave him with the helmet on because I am not a huge fan of the face sculpt. Figure-wise is quite great though, has his ups and downs like any other figure, but overall is quite neat, with some things that we've never seen before as well, which is always fun. So I would highly recommend this character, but I don't think that you need me to tell you this. Either you were a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy and you love Marvel, so you're going to get them, or you just don't really care about Guardians of the Galaxy, you thought it was silly, so you're not going to get him. Sorry, the first scenario you are getting him, the second scenario you're not getting him, basically. Overall, you've probably already made up your mind. Great figure though, I have to say, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I'll definitely be having a ton of fun with it when the rest of the Guardians and when Thanos comes out. I think that he'll be super fun, and when the Infinity Wars comes out, we'll be able to display him with the other Avengers, and it'll look great. There you go. Thanks so much for watching.